AITA for exposing my girlfriend's secret direct messages and getting her busted instead of proposing? I, 31, had been dating Brooke, 32, for 3 years. I thought we were going to go the distance, at least to the point of proposing. That never had the chance to happen, and that is because she ruined it. I did my best as a boyfriend. There were a lot of things I let slide that I never should have. I had caught her lying to me a few times before and should have just let things end there. I was too in love, though, which made it difficult for me. I did not consider the lies to be deal breakers, so that helped. But this time she crossed a major line. The fact that I am writing this is proof enough that I have no forgiveness left. I have genuinely always been averse to women who are obsessed with celebrities. There is nothing wrong with knowing a thing or two about them, especially when news breaks. But when you treat celebrities and their drama like the most interesting thing in the world, I get irritated quickly. Brooke was not like that when we first met. If she had been, things never would have gotten this far. Her interest essentially came out of nowhere. She is not the only woman I have seen this happen to. Someone I knew from my college days suddenly started obsessing over reality television celebrities, and I genuinely never thought she would be that type of person. It is very strange behavior to me. I hated seeing her get too involved in celebrity gossip, but considering how long we had been dating and the fact that it was ultimately harmless, I just let it go. I was not afraid to voice my disapproval, though. Of course, she did not like that I hated it, but all she could really do was try not to express it as much when she was around me. I do not know what the worst-case scenario is when you have a girlfriend like mine, but I might have found it. Celebrity crushes can be extremely annoying to deal with in a partner, even when you know the celebrity on the other end is not a threat. I never expected her to meet this guy, but it is hard to deal with when you are supposed to be the sole object of her affection. And if you are a woman reading this and are about to rush to Brooke's defense, just think about your man drooling over some famous actress. There is a high probability you will understand the issue better if you choose to be honest. So the realistic worst-case scenario is not her meeting the celebrity and running off to be with him. That is essentially impossible. It is her shamelessly offering herself to him in messages, which is exactly what I discovered she was doing in his direct messages. It was complete luck that I found out. I had dropped my phone and took it to a local repair shop to get it fixed, so I had her phone for a little while. There is a restaurant we order takeout from that we follow on Instagram, so I asked for her phone to message them. I do not think she realized what else was in her direct messages, so she handed her phone over without an issue. When I opened the message screen on her Instagram app, the first thing I saw was that the third name on that list was that same celebrity. He had become a plague in my life, so of course I noticed it immediately. When I opened the messages, I saw her pursuing him in ways that no one in a committed relationship should. She sent so many messages, and not a single one of them had been replied to. She was not just supporting him, which I could have let slide despite how weird it was. She was talking about how much she loved him, how handsome he was, and how she wanted the chance to see him just once. She did not say that just once, either. I saw it pop up in the chat multiple times in different forms. I knew, without a doubt, that if she got the chance to see him, she would take it immediately. She expressed that she would do anything to make it happen. Those were her words, not mine. I exited the chat immediately and ordered the food. My mood soured instantly. I tried to keep it bottled up, but it was not working for me. I did not say anything, but she knew something was wrong with me and did not seem to realize it had to do with her. I just covered it up by saying I was upset that my phone had broken and left it at that. She seemed to buy it. I was lucky she was so naive. Later that day, when my phone was working again and she was away from her device, I grabbed it. I checked her Instagram right away and, with my phone, took a video of all the messages she had sent the celebrity. After taking the video, I was able to read all the messages slowly. I was so angry with her, so mad. She was saying things that no woman with a boyfriend should have been saying. 80% of it was cheesy, supportive messages. The other 20% was her expressing desire for him, and it was written in such a way that she would never be able to deny or explain it away. There is no excuse for messages like, "Give me one night with you." It is all I need. I have not confronted her or anything. I do not even know where to begin in that regard. I have no idea. I am writing this to vent my thoughts, also to see what everyone else will say. Since I am not married to her, I do not need to prepare things as if I were getting a divorce. I can just end it whenever I want. One thing, though, is that I do not want to give her a chance to control the narrative. I want to make sure everyone knows who she really is. I was not the bad guy in this, so I refuse to be painted as one. I will figure it out, but if there are any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Update 1. This is going to be a long update, I figure, but I let it all out. I was tired of keeping her messages a secret. Now she knows that I know, and so do a lot of other people. But before I get into that, I want to address a lot of the comments claiming that drooling over celebrities does not constitute cheating. It is hard for me to express just how misguided I find that idea. Incredibly misguided. Of course it is a form of cheating. Cheating is not always getting into bed with another person. And if you are going to argue that it is probably just because you are trying to cover up your own behavior. I refuse to sit here and listen to that. If you are doing something with another person that you would never want your partner to find out about, then I think it is pretty easy to categorize that as crossing a line, especially when it involves emotions or desire. She had both of those involved in this situation, so she was definitely being unfaithful. Ultimately, it does not matter what any of you think, only what I think. She was my girlfriend, not yours. Anyway, on to the real issue. I decided I was going to confront her in public. At first, I was going to be fine with making a big scene at a restaurant, but the timing was perfect when she told me her family was having a big get-together about a month later. I had to be very controlled with my emotions to hold everything in. Until then, I did it. It was not easy, but the payoff was going to be worth it, and that is what kept me going. When the day came, we made the 3-hour drive to where it was happening. The day started out pretty cheerful. There was a little bit of drama with some of her uncles getting very aggressive about politics, but besides that, it was a good day. There was a part of me that did not want to go through with things, but I realized most of them would end up seeing it as the kind of drama that is fun to tell after the fact. I waited for a quiet part of the evening and then stood up and told everyone I had something really important to say to them. It made sense that the initial assumption was that I was about to propose. I could see the excitement on all the older women's faces. There was confusion on Brooke's face. I waited until I had absolutely everyone's attention. I started talking about Brooke and everything we had been through as a couple. At that point, I am sure absolutely everyone thought it was a proposal. My intention was to show everyone the path we had walked together and how she had chosen to throw all that away, because she was so desperate for a celebrity who genuinely did not know she existed. When I got to the present day after the little trip down memory lane, everyone was expecting the big question. I did not give them what they wanted. I told them that Brooke and I were sadly not going to go any further than we already had. I could see how confused everyone was. That is when I dropped the bomb. I let them know that I had discovered she was shamelessly pursuing a celebrity she really liked in his direct messages, and it was incredibly disrespectful. I had the proof, and sharing it with everyone was as simple as telling them to turn on their AirDrop if they were interested in seeing it for themselves. While I waited for people to do that, she came up to me in a panic and asked me why I was doing this to her. I asked her why she did what she did to me. Her first defense was that I had not even given her a chance to explain or defend herself, and it was not fair. I told her she had her chance to defend herself right then and there. And if she told me anything that made sense, I would instantly apologize and tell everyone I had doctored the video I sent out. She just stood there looking at me like a fool, which is not very surprising because it is not like she had anything to defend herself with. Anyway, I gave her almost a full minute, and she gave up the chance to defend herself and just started begging. In response, I started airdropping the video to people. That is when she started crying. After I had done that, I sat down. I wanted to give people a chance to talk about it and form their own opinions. Brooke was one of their own. I was just there because she was my girlfriend. Though it was clear that some of them were on her side, I could see that was not the majority. Many of them looked quite scandalized by what they were looking at. It was sudden, but I felt the urge to get out of there unceremoniously, so I just walked to our car. She chased after me, and some people scrambled to see what was going to happen. She had nothing to say to me, other than to beg me to give her another chance. I had had enough time to think about it, so I knew I had zero interest in forgiving her, and I told her so. She finally had the chance to be with the celebrity of her dreams, and I was not going to stop her from whatever dream she had built with the guy. I got in the car, and she asked how she was supposed to get home. That was obviously a silly question for me, because she had plenty of family around and could figure it out. After that, I started the car and drove off. The first half hour of the drive, I was feeling very on edge. I had finally released all my frustration and was feeling quite agitated about it. I knew everything was going to change after that, so it was hard for me to accept it in an instant. But after that, I decided to just enjoy the new phase of my life I was about to enter. So I just blasted music the rest of the drive, and it was a great time for me. I got home, had something for dinner, and that was it for me. I have been feeling fine ever since. I will not say I have been fantastic, but I have been okay, and that is all that matters. I am happy I did not compromise my happiness. It is pretty tough right now. It hurts a lot to lose what you thought would be for life, but that is okay. I will come out on the other side. The execution was perfect. He waited a whole month, holding everything in. He went to the family gathering, started talking as if he were going to propose, and when everyone was excited, he dropped the bomb. AirDropped to everyone present. She did not have even 30 seconds of a defense before she started begging, and he just got in the car and left. Cold. Anyway, let us continue with the last update. Update 2. I did not think there was going to be anything else to what I went through with my ex-girlfriend Brooke. I thought things would end after I embarrassed her at the family gathering, but I am not that lucky, am I? I thought I made the finality clear. Apparently not. She came back and made things even messier. I was sleeping at my apartment when I suddenly heard knocking on my door. I hate when people knock like that. So I got up quite aggressively and asked who it was. I got no response. I asked again, and it was the same thing. I waited 5 minutes and then opened the door. That is when I saw Brooke sitting on the floor next to my door. She shot up to her feet when she saw me. I asked if she was the one who had been knocking, and she hesitated. I asked again, and she said it was her. So I asked why she did not answer when I asked who it was. She just mumbled some excuses. She was clearly very uncomfortable, which was weird because she seemed to have come of her own choice. I asked her what she wanted, and she claimed she wanted to apologize. So I stood there while she apologized for everything she had done to hurt me. To be honest, she sounded sincere, but sincerity was not going to make me take her back. It seemed like all she wanted to do was clear her conscience. So I listened to her, acknowledged her, and was about to go back inside when she decided to change course. She started begging me. She said her life had been so empty without me, and she needed me back in her life. She acknowledged how much she had messed up, but claimed she would have never left me, that her obsession with the celebrity was just something fun for her. She had learned the hard way that it was disrespectful and begged me to give her a chance to show she had repented. I listened to her, and when she was done and waiting for a response from me, I told her there was no chance we were ever getting back together. I told her I was too hurt by it, and was already past the point where I would even consider the thought of being with her again. She really thought she could convince me, so she kept trying and trying. I eventually went back into the apartment, and she kept talking from my doorway. She told me she would not leave until I gave her a chance. That was foolish. I told her I would be forced to call 911 if she did not leave in 10 minutes. I do not know if she thought it was romantic, but she chose to test me, so I made sure she could see how serious I was. I called the police. They were there in about 10 minutes or so. Stupidly, she was still there, and as soon as the officers started approaching her, she tried to run. That was a very poor decision. She ended up being taken into custody. They let her go later that night. It is not like she had major charges against her, but it was a very foolish way she had chosen for things to go. Incredibly foolish. I have no sympathy for her. Her dad came to my apartment about a week later. He was pretty upset that I called the police, so I explained the whole situation to him, so he would know it really was not my fault. I could tell he had not been told the full story and was hearing it for the first time from me. He still tried to take her side, which did not surprise me. He left shortly after that. I was pretty close to the guy before everything turned into a mess. It is very sad, so that is how things have been for me. I am glad she has finally gotten the hint and has stayed away from me. It is much better for things to be this way. She even has an arrest on her record now because she chose to act that way. I know a lot of the people who downplay this kind of boundary crossing are going to come and tell me that her celebrity obsession was not worth everything I did. But that is why most of you are not in relationships and probably never will be. As for me, I will figure life out on my own. I do not need her. Maybe I will get back into the dating world. Who knows? But yeah, thank you all for following me through this and sending words of support. They 100% helped. Comment. This kind of story always makes me pause and think about my own experiences. I strongly believe that self-respect should be at the center of every relationship we have. Setting firm boundaries is actually an act of kindness toward yourself. When those boundaries are crossed, it's important to have the courage to walk away. True healing begins when we take responsibility for our own happiness. Choosing peace over drama has changed how I see life in so many ways. I hope you take some time to reflect on the relationships in your life right now. Be gentle with yourself as you figure out what you truly deserve. Remember that real growth comes from making choices that protect your heart. Thank you for sharing this journey with me today. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.